It's an honor being here, and I thank UPF for having this discussion this morning here. I'm speaking out of Washington, D.C. Let me just say this is, as we all know, a critically important issue. The prospects and challenges for peace on the Korean Peninsula in light of recent developments. COVID-19 obviously is the key recent development. And as Dr. Walsh indicated, the Republic of Korea handled and is handling the COVID-19 issue extremely well, and it's a model for other countries. So this is extremely positive, but when you compare that to the dearth of information we have from North Korea maintains there are no COVID-19 issues. I think the sense is that with the approximately 900-mile border with the People's Republic of China, it's likely COVID-19 indeed is an issue for North Korea. And given the problematic health service situation in North Korea, this has to be a challenge for the leadership in North Korea. Compounding that, of course, is what we just saw over the past week and a half with the non-appearance of Kim Jong-un and the media speculation. It's not only media speculation, but also government speculation about the status of Kim Jong-un. Was he alive? Was he ill? Was he gravely ill? Was he deceased? That speaks to a big issue, and I think we have to focus on that issue, the lack of transparency into North Korea. And that's part of the tragedy on the situation with North Korea, because there isn't that contact, there isn't that interaction, there isn't that obviously transparency into issues. But conversely, it's the inability of even the Republic of Korea and others, to include international organizations, to contribute. If there are issues in North Korea, how do we contribute? Now, North Korea said they don't need aid on that. The Republic of Korea, the United Nations, the United States, and others have offered aid. They say they don't need aid on that. But the fact of the matter is, North Korea has a number of sanctions that are significantly biting as we speak, whether it's petroleum, whether it's crude oil, whether it's their inability to export. And that's affecting certainly their economy. And we know a good portion of the money they receive through their exports goes into the nuclear missile program, but obviously it is also affecting the people. You know, there's a statistic I remember, and that's with the sanctions on North Korea on the petroleum and the crude oil, that the amount they're permitted to receive in 1 year is commensurate with what Australia, about the same population, 25 million people, imports in 1 day. So, and when you talk about the agricultural sector, obviously the importation of oil and crude oil and so forth lends itself to fertilizers and other elements of the well-being, if you will, and that certainly affects the people. Look, we saw with the COVID-19 issue, we saw with the disappearance of Kim Jong-un, the sense that maybe there would be instability in North Korea. Well, I think Kim Jong-un now, he's appeared. He has shown he is not deceased. He's not gravely ill. He made it very clear that he's well with his pictures in visiting a fertilizer plant. Now, did he have a procedure? He could have had a procedure. We don't know. There was some reporting about Chinese doctors going into North Korea with the head of the International Liaison Department, Song Tao, which is very significant. If doctors did go in, it could be to oversee or to participate in a procedure. It didn't have to be a very serious procedure. It could have been a procedure. But having the head of the International Liaison Department go in, I think that's important, because that's the co-equals. It's party-to-party relations. So when Song Tao goes into North Korea, he usually meets Kim Jong-un. So it's important now. We saw Kim Jong-un, he's alive and he's well. But looking at other issues where people were saying if he had passed or was incapacitated, who would follow? I maintain Kim Jong-un, since he's taken over in 2011, has made sure that he has surrounded himself with loyalists. Not only does he have loyalists around him, but I think he's also looking at succession. Kim Yo-jong, his younger sister, obviously is one of the likely ones who would follow him in the name of the Kim family. She was just elected to the standing committee as an alternate member. That's very important. A year ago, 2019, Chae Young-hae was promoted to be the president of the Supreme People's Assembly. He's also the vice chairman of the State Affairs Commission, second to Kim Jong-un. These are the likely people who would follow. So I think we should just relax a bit and focus on what? Focus on implementing the Panmunjom Declaration, which is between North Korea and South Korea, which is a commitment between both Koreas to pursue a peace, to pursue the lack of reconciliation and a non-nuclear weapons peninsula, non-nuclear weapon Korean peninsula. And my view is that we need to see more between the ROK and the DPRK in regards to separated families, the visitations, looking at visits to Mount Kumgang, interaction, so there is more of a dialogue, there's more transparency of what's going on in North Korea, and there's more people-to-people contact, to include looking at Kaesung and reconstituting some of the programs there that could lend itself to humanitarian assistance to North Korea to contend with the COVID-19 issue, which we believe is in North Korea. So there's a lot. There's the Panmunjom Declaration, and that goes back to 2017, April 2017. There's also the Singapore joint statement between President Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. As with the Panmunjom Declaration, President Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un, both these declarations should be implemented and pursued aggressively. I think we have that mandate, and this is where UPF and organizations like UPF come into play, indicating very clearly that we want a peaceful resolution to issues on the Korean Peninsula, and the two Koreas should be interacting in a meaningful way so that intra-Korean relations are becoming that much more vibrant and meaningful for the benefit of what? For the 25 million people living in North Korea, but also for the 50 million people living in South Korea, and eventually movement towards what? Unification. This is the end goal, and this is something I believe is attainable. So I will end on that. Let me just say there are a lot of issues out here, but I think the key one here is implementing those two declarations, the Panmunjom Declaration and the Singapore Declaration, getting President Moon Jae-in in the South, interacting with the North, and the same thing with the United States, and then international organizations like UPF, indicating that this is a global issue. We all need to participate and work towards peace on the Korean Peninsula. Thank you.